Welcome to the JCPod. I'm your host, Jaden Chandler Parnell, and hey, how about them Denver Nuggets, baby? This is episode 53. We are going to talk some NBA action before we begin, but you know it's Tuesday. Always going to go over some NFL news and everything. But like I said, you know how we hop into this pod. We're going to go right into it before we get to the NBA. Now, before we get into the NBA, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the history that we got to watch last night from Nikola Jokić and the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets have never swept the finals before. We just got to watch that last night. Jokić passes Wilt Chamberlain for the all-time triple-doubles list in the playoffs with 8 now. And that was a record that Wilt set in 1967. 57-year-old record that got broken. Wow. But he wasn't alone. That was a very, very interesting game. The Lakers were up 15 at one point. Shout out to LeBron James. Played almost the whole first half. Finished the game with 40. I thought LeBron maybe should have been a little bit more aggressive in the in the second half. I thought he was really aggressive and really good in the first half. I thought he should have been maybe a little bit more aggressive in the second half, but maybe the tiredness got to him. Maybe he's trying to not just take over and let the other guys get involved as well so he could use them. But overall, man, yeah, it was a really fun game yesterday. It was very, very exciting. Came down to a last-second shot by Jokic to put a layup in. 4 seconds left. LeBron goes to drive. Jamal Murray basically grabs the ball. There's no jump ball. LeBron's not able to get the ball up in time, and as the shot expires, as the clock expires, the shot isn't close to the rim really. It's just kind of thrown up in the air, and Lakers win 101, and the Nuggets win the game. As you can see from the scoreboard up top, big Nuggets futures for me. So we're happy, man. We just need the Heat to finish business tonight, but I'll get into that portion of it in a second. I want to touch on LeBron James a little bit. As a LeBron James fan myself, that game kind of hurt last night, man. Obviously, I thought he had a really good game. There was nothing he could have really done. It was just not. Let's just be honest. It wasn't the Lakers' year. They came into the year not having the best. They trade away Russell Westbrook. Basically, I think getting rid of Russell Westbrook and adding those pieces they did. Like, the pieces didn't do too much towards, this round of the playoffs, but I think getting rid of Russell Westbrook and having, more of a role for, Austin Reeves and Schroeder, players like that, I think that helped their team propel and basically, I think, overachieve because the Lakers were not supposed to be here. They were basically in 8th. I think they just barely either missed going to the play-in or they won the first game of the play-in. I can't remember off the top of my head for some reason, but regardless, they're one of those teams people are like, we don't know if the Lakers got it. Probably not, right? And they were able to win round one. They were able to round 2 and get to the conference finals. And this is only the 3rd time in LeBron's career he's been swept, maybe 4th. I think it's 2000. And I think it's including, the finals. He's not been swept very often. It's been 2007, 2018, and then maybe 2017, I think was the other one. So this would be the 4th time, potentially all time. It's one of those things, but I just think this is one of those series. I don't think this affects his career too much, or not his career, his legacy. I mean, yes, obviously it would have been nice to win the 5th ring, but, the Nuggets are good, man. I just don't think people realize how good the Nuggets have been this season. And now they get a chance to prove it in the finals. And like I said, sucks for LeBron. I thought he gave a really, really awesome effort that game. But being down 3-0, even if he gave an awesome effort that game, they still had to win 3 more games past that. So I don't know if they were going to do just that. But overall, I thought it was a really good fight from the Lakers that last game because they definitely didn't give up or bend over, bend the knee, any of that stuff. They basically said, hey, we got this. We're going to try to do this. We got this. And, hey, they made it really close, like I said, but the Nuggets were just a little too much to overpower them, and now the Nuggets, like I said, first time in franchise history in the finals, man. That is crazy. I think they said, at the stat I saw yesterday, they're one of 4 ABA teams to make the finals, or not to make the finals. Now they have at least. It's really, really awesome for their really awesome time we're living in. We're getting to witness some NBA history that doesn't happen all the time anymore, and then, man, I'm really excited for this finals. Speaking of the finals, this leads me into the series that we got on tonight. So like I said, shout out to Joker for setting the triple-double record for playoffs. Shout out to the Nuggets for making the NBA Finals. Shout out the tickets. But yeah, like I said, shout out to Jokic, and shout out to the Nuggets for making the first finals ever. That's very awesome. On the other side of the Eastern Conference Finals, you might have to tell your mama to get the brooms for tonight. We might get to leave the brooms out tonight. The Heat, last time I looked, minus 118 on the money line. I might as well just keep my phone next to me. I keep going back and forth for it. We'll check right now. Last time I checked, it was minus 125, then meant to 118. Now it's at minus 120, so it hasn't fully dropped yet. I'm just sitting here waiting for it to drop again like it's done every game. I don't think it will this game. I think some people are kind of finally realizing, like, oh, Boston is just, like, a mess right now. That's kind of the biggest thing I want to talk about this series. I think that I'm going to give all the flowers to their Heat in a second, but I just think that the Boston Celtics are a big, big mess right now. I think they should keep Brown and Tatum together. I don't think that's the issue. I think I talked about it a little bit on our show Sunday. I think they need a point guard. I think not having, like, a true point guard to help, like, I know there's not very many of those left in the NBA nowadays where it's, like, to help distribute. Like, oh, I noticed that Brown has been sitting in the corner for 2 or 3 possessions in a row. Now let me get him a shot. Oh, now Tatum's been sitting in the corner. Let me get him a shot. Like, just get Horford a shot so he can get in. Like, there's not very many of those left. If Chris Paul went to this team, not saying he's going to, I think it'd be a little interesting to see how it goes. But I'm not going to. That's not what this is about. This is just, I think the Celtics have just been overmatched from the coaching aspect. That's the big thing I want to get into. I think Joe Mazzulla, props to him for doing what he did. He picked at 34 years old. But yeah, I just think I thought that some points were really brought up yesterday that were really good points as well that I want to talk about some too. It's like, I think their coaching staff, like, behind him was very, very paper thin, because you can get away with obviously they, like, you can't get away with having a terrible coach, but if your coach isn't the best but you have good staff behind him, like, you'll be all right. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like not only is I think it's Joe Mazzulla's fault a little bit, I just think the staff behind him isn't the best either. I just don't. I mean, they came out and said it themselves. But yeah, like I said, they got their first head coach Udoka gone from the little incident that we all know about but somehow don't know about. Second head coach, I think, gone to the Jazz. Third coach, I think, goes to Georgia Tech. So it just leaves Joe Mazzulla, and then they, from what a lot of people are coming out and sound like, they didn't do the best job of getting the staff behind them too, because they were just kind of rushed, and they kind of like, it was just one of those situations where basically they didn't have a coach. All of a sudden they needed a coach, and like they were able to stop on Mazzulla. The players wanted him, and then they just didn't like really. Obviously, I know there's more people behind the scenes and everything, but with only having but with missing like a lot of the key assistants, like that's what's been killing them. Because like, you look at the Heat, man, the Heat are able to make minor adjustments and stuff like that. I just don't know if I'm seeing the Boston Celtics doing. The Heat have arguably the best. I can't think of the dude's name. It makes me so mad. They got one of the best assistant coaches in the game. Everybody, I think, is going to want him after the season. People are trying to. I've been trying to purge him for 2 or 3 seasons. They got Caron Butler, who's been a good add and been really, really helpful. And I bet you a lot of their draft, a lot of the people in their draft, what is that called, department, I guess? People in the draft department are probably going to get a little bit of a raise, or they're going to get asked to join a team for a big raise. Because, like, I'm going to the points now. The Heat have been to the finals. If you count Jimmy's, that 3. If Jimmy makes that 3, Game 7, the Heat are in the final 3 or 4 years. Like, that's really, really impressive, man. It's something to the point, like, it's more than Heat culture. Like, at this point, they got something going down there. And, I mean, it makes me wonder, like, this is what I heard on other podcasts that I kind of want to bring up. I wonder if it's going to be a destination spot for other people. We're going to have to see. Game 4 is tonight, though. Like I said, the Heat are minus 120 in the money line. I think the Heat end up closing out. I think we potentially, for the first time in NBA history, have a sweep in the finals on both sides. And then I think we basically just get to chill out until next Thursday when we have Game 1 of the finals. And, hey, that scroll bar going crazy, isn't it? Been pretty awesome, man. I'm enjoying these futures. I'm hoping the Heat can win tonight so I can clear off some of them, look at some of the tickets, enjoy a little bit. But, man, so it's going to be a little sweaty hours for me until that game tonight. I don't know how I'm going to act. But like I said, I think Jimmy Butler's going to handle business tonight. I think the Heat are going to be able to. Because, I mean, they blew them out. They were able to get their guys a big rest in the fourth quarter. So, hopefully they come with the same energy they did last night. Those Celtics, I tweeted out, the Celtics look like a bunch of sad ooses. I mean, they just looked. I mean, like I said, obviously they have a chance to come back and maybe win a game or something, but the way they looked last game, I mean, that's a locker room that is in some dangerous, dangerous waters. That just is not. Yeah, they do not. Let's just say they do not look the most confident in themselves right now. But like I said, that's I'll probably stop there for NBA. I think that was a good enough touch. We went over a lot of it on Sunday as well, and like I said, this. Oh, damn! I didn't even say this in the intro. That's on me. There's probably going to be no pod Thursday. I'll touch this again at the end of the episode. Man, I should have really touched it at the beginning. That's on me. I might make a post about it. I got something going on Thursday morning, so I won't be able to record, sadly. However, potentially should still be a show on Sunday. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be with a guest or not, but I'm not able to do a show on Thursday, sadly, so we're going to have to either move it or not do it at all. TBD. Probably going to move it to Sunday, maybe, but we'll see. Thankfully, it's the off season though. That's one of those things where I don't mind. Like, I'll be honest, I don't want to take the off day because I'm building the channel and everything, and I want to keep it growing, keep it moving, and like the more I post, the more better it looks, the more views it gets, the more content's out there. But I just can't do it Thursday, honestly, and it's the off season, so I'm gonna take the chance to like, hey, you're allowed to take a day here or two, so I'm gonna take the day, and then hopefully hopefully everything goes well Thursday. It's nothing serious. It's just something that's going to take my time up a bit in the morning. And then, hopefully I can come back Sunday and everything. But like I said, we're going to touch on some NFL news now. I think that's good for the NBA. I like the Heat tonight. And, hey, we might have a Heat Nuggets final. I'm going to look forward to talking on that on Sunday or next Tuesday when I get the chance to. But for now, like I said, let's get into the NFL action. Okay, just before I get to the NFL, we'll talk. LeBron's contemplating his future. I got a lot to think about. Obviously, I don't think he's going to retire because he wants to play for his son and everything, but he's old enough to where we're going to start coming out, and every year, I think for every year now, it's going to be LeBron James is unsure, or LeBron James is unsure if he's going to retire. I feel like we're going to be in the few years of. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where LeBron's probably just going to announce for like the next few years, like, I have a decision to make. But yeah, I think it's at max we're going to see him play. I think like 3 to 4 more years, just enough to get like 1 or 2 seasons with LeBron again, but. Yeah, I just don't see. I maybe see him getting to 42, but I don't see him getting much past that. And even if he does, like, how much is he actually going to play by that point? It's just, man, it's crazy to think about because I was talking into it with my guy Rowan last night a little bit, just like, man, he's really like 38 now. And they were talking about, like, is this LeBron's last conference finals? Is this his last chance to get a ring? And it's like, it's LeBron James. No, it's not. And then you think about it a little more, it's like, oh, he is kind of old. I mean, they might be onto something. I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but it's great to think about, like, man. And then also shout out Carmelo Anthony, who retired. There's one guy left from the draft of 03. One guy left from the draft of 03, and he just got eliminated last night. So it's just crazy to think. A lot of the kids I grew up in my childhood, they're all retired now. Feels weird, man. Like, it just feels weird now that all the people coming into the league, like, it's to the point now a lot of people coming to the league are going to be younger than me. It's going to be weird. It's like, might not have a favorite player anymore. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird sensation when that time comes, but we aren't there just yet. Like I said, though, NFL, Eckler agrees to an additional $2 million incentives to stay with the Chargers. So I'm assuming, Eckler was already set to earn $6.25 this year on the final year of his $24.5 million, so they're just paying a little extra. This is all to do with, like, he asked for a trade request. They weren't able to trade him. They weren't able to. So I think this is kind of like a meet him in the middle, like, hey, I know we didn't give you a deal. I know you didn't get traded, but here's an extra $2 million. Just come back with us this year. Let's see what we can get doing. I would not be shocked if Eckler gets traded next year, moving on from next year. But like we talked about earlier, the running back market's in a weird place where it has like almost no value right now. Or if it does have value, it's very, very undervalued. So we're gonna have to wait and see with the Eckler situation. Because yeah, as of right now, I just don't know if the running back position is as vital as people make it. Like obviously people need it, but it's like. If you look at the money, where all the money's spread out across positions, you would think that you don't need a running back. The NFL approves the Thursday night flexing, but in order to do this, I just want to find the rules. It's only going to apply to weeks 13 through 17, and there has to be at least a 28-day in advance notice of it. So we're going to know a month ahead of time if they're going to change the Thursday night game. Hopefully this will make some Thursday night games more interesting and all that. The Green Bay is going to host the 2025 NFL Draft. Good for them. That's pretty cool. Brady became the Raiders' minority owner pending NFL approval. So I guess he's going to become the NFL. Hey, that's kind of cool. I don't know how that affects his deal broadcasting. I don't think it does too much. But it still requires at least 24 owners' approval. And I'll be honest, I don't know when this is going to take place. I think it's going to take a little bit to go through because technically I've just learned apparently that Josh Harris buy is not still through. They still have to go through all the owners, but I'm not going to be shocked. I think they're going to let Tom Brady buy into the Raiders. I would not be shocked if I think it's going to stay in the Davis family, obviously, but I would not be shocked if like 10 or so years from now we hear John Brady's the second majority owner of the Raiders. Would not be shocked. It's definitely something interesting to think about, but yeah, I don't think they're going to deny Tom Brady. I think he's going to end up becoming an owner. Roethlisberger eventually came out and said he didn't initially want Kenny Pickett to succeed, but then he eventually got over it. Which I mean, you can't blame him too much. I give him props for coming out even with this because that's a little bit of human in you. You know, he basically like they moved on from him. He still felt like he could play a little bit. It was nothing towards Kenny Pickett. It was just more towards I feel like the Steelers where it's like man, I can still play and you want this guy to go in there and do something that's like, nah, I don't think this guy's got it. I don't think he's going to do that well. It's one of those situations where, and he even came out and said it, how he's like, hey, I just basically, I didn't want you to do too well because it's like, yeah, and basically, he said, I wouldn't want, I didn't, let me try this again. I wouldn't say that I wanted Kenny to necessarily fail, but like, when someone comes to replace you and you're like, I still feel like I had it. So exactly what I was trying. It's one of the situations where he's like, I don't want him to do too well because if he does too well, then they were right for moving on from me. But then towards the end of the season, he said he actually ended up cheering for him. He was wearing, wearing the jersey, celebrating everything. So it's going to be really cool. He said he thinks that Kenny Pickett has what it takes to be a Steelers quarterback. So I'm excited to see what happens with Kenny and the Steelers moving forward. I think he has a bright future potentially. And the 49ers are going to host Super Bowl 50. I think that's what it's going to be in 2026. Oh, sorry, Super Bowl 60. I'm stupid. They're going to host Super Bowl 60 in 2026. Good for them. The NFL is going to allow a third quarterback without using the game day roster spot. So basically, we can call this the San Francisco 49ers rule. This used to be an old rule in the NFL, I just learned. But apparently, like in the old days, they would do this, but then they would have that third quarterback on special teams. Third quarterback. They would have that third quarterback on special teams, throw him up at tight end here and there. So the NFL basically abolished it. So now it's to the point where you can have the third quarterback spot, but he can't do anything else. He's basically only there to come to the game. And this original rule is from 91 to 2010. And then, yeah, they basically just said, they're basically just going to be emergency passer. So, like, for example, like a Josh Dobbs or a Josh Johnson, like one of those guys now, they're going to sit on the roster just for game day, just to be there in case something bad happens. Apparently, Matt Corral doesn't want to trade, even though they drafted Bryce Young. I don't know if. I just want to say that props for him for wanting to fight, but I don't know what this can do. The NFL is apparently going through a second wave of gambling policies or violations. They haven't revealed any of the players apparently, but man, I didn't. By the way, I haven't seen this one yet. That's why I'm kind of like. So apparently, okay, the way they make it sound, like there's apparently some other people they might have some flags on that were potentially gambling. So they haven't came out the names yet, but they're definitely looking for those people. Commanders came out and said that they're gonna. The Commanders are unlikely to be punished for the tampering, and that's because they basically came out and said, "Hey, we did not talk to Andrew Luck or anything like that." That's a weird situation. I kind of don't really know what's going on with that. Apparently, Clowney's open to reuniting with the Texans. That'd be really cool to see him go back home after all these years. Lance is working out with Mahomes and has made substantial jump. We're in the season, though, where everyone's making a jump. Everyone's making a leap. Everyone's leaps and bounds above where they were last year. It's basically, we'll see. We'll see how he does. He might not even end up starting. Trey Lance could come back and end up starting, so we'll just have to see that situation. San Diego State came out and said no wrongdoing by Ariza in the alleged gang rape. Which, if that's the case, sucks for him that his life got postponed and a whole year ruined. I'm excited. I hope somebody gives him a chance to punt again because he did really have a decent combine, but we'll see. Obviously, with everything that's happened. Jim Brown passes away at 87. That happened over the weekend. Rest in peace to a legend and one of the most important players in NFL history. One of the first people to break the color barrier and one of the first, like, African Americans to be, like, excel at the sport and be, like, great. Like, it's truly sad to see him go, but rest in peace to an absolute legend. Commanders say it won't be voted on at the next team meeting, or at the next league meeting, which I think already happened, so we're still waiting for the sale. I think they're just still, like, I think it's in the process. So I think it's, like, they've accepted the sale. Like, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll definitely let this be sold, but they're going to make sure that, like, all the owners that are a part of this aren't going to... Apparently, there's a lot of BS, like, background paperwork they got to do. Basically, it's like the deal is signed, but they got to go through all the fine details and everything. Trubisky signs a new 3-year deal with the Steelers, assuming to be their backup. Rodgers is April's top jersey seller. Not shocking. I just thought I'd bring that up. I think I mentioned last week, Matt Ryan's not going to shut the door on an NFL return, but I think that's solely for the fact that he gets a lot of money, so he's just, like, leaving that open. David Arnett for the Raiders got indicted indicted in Las Vegas for his gun case. They dropped the weapon charge against him last year, but Clark County District Attorney Steve Wilson told the Las Vegas Journal-Review the case might be presented to a grand jury. So it sounds like he's going to get a lot of trouble. It's just sad to see, like, just couldn't kind of get out of his own way. Arnett had a lot of, I think, potential. Was playing decent with the Raiders, had a lot of talent, and he just kind of couldn't get out of his own way. It's kind of sad to see. Hopefully nothing too serious happens to him unless it's deserved. Joe Burrow has some contract extensions that are in the work. We're going to have to wait and see, though. They aren't fully done yet, but that dude's going to be getting some money. That's all that, that's all I got to say. That boy's going to get some money. Devontae Adams last season said he didn't prove they didn't need Aaron Rodgers and everything. And also, Devontae Adams has been coming out saying like he doesn't like the direction that the offense is going for the Raiders. I am very intrigued to see what happens with this and where they go with this. It's just, the Raiders are in a little weird spot. Adams kind of came there to play with his friend. His friend's gone in a year, basically, and that's the whole reason he kind of left Green Bay was because he didn't know how long Rodgers was going to stay, so it's just kind of ironic that happened. But I'm interested to see how the Raiders do. They have potential to be decent next year, but they did get rid of some of their guys, like Darren Waller, but they also do have other guys they brought in, so we're going to have to see, man. I don't truly know how the Raiders are going to be. I think they're going to be decent next year, but we'll have to see. Christian McCaffrey said the trade of the 49ers is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm sure he's a lot happier winning now and everything. And I just think that he's truly... That'll be where we ended, by the way, too. That's the last kind of bit of news. But I bet he's just truly happy to be on a team that's winning, a team that's, a team where he's basically doing the same thing, but getting, 10 to 15 less touches. So it's awesome. It's awesome for him because, he's still getting his numbers, still getting his all this, but he's getting a few less touches, which is, saving his body and everything. But, that's probably where I'm going to end it for today's episode. Didn't need to go too long. I won't even lie to you. It just felt a little weird today when I'm recording. I, woke up, felt a little off, felt a little weird. Nothing wrong, just felt weird, basically. And like I said, probably no episode Thursday because I got some stuff to do in the morning. I'll try to get an episode out Sunday if that's the case, potentially with my boy. We'll see. Not 100% sure. If we do, it might be a little shorter one, but regardless, I don't think Sunday's episode, if it comes out, is going to be too long a one. I think it's just going to kind of be cover some stuff I missed, talk about the Miami Heat-Celtics series a little bit, but yeah, overall, just thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate appreciate it all, and like I said, no episode Thursday, sadly. Hopefully we'll have an episode Sunday. I'll let everybody know as we go out. But I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week, in case I don't. But like I said, we should. I'll probably plan on it. But so I will potentially see everybody Sunday. If not, I will at least see you guys all on next Tuesday.